Creating assignments in the online environment takes a lot of forethought. It's not always as simple as assigning a project in our traditional face-to-face classrooms. A lot of times we can assign activities, in-class activities, we can assign projects, all those things, and we can facilitate some of that stuff on the fly. Maybe we don't have to have a lot of prep work when we're going in to facilitate a particular class activity or group assignment. Maybe we are a little light on written documentation for a particular assignment because we know that we're there in person. We can help the student understand what we meant by X, Y, and Z. We can help clarify particular sections. When we move into the online space, we are not necessarily afforded those same luxuries. Instead, we need to position our assessment of student mastery in a way that is very, very clear, very transparent. For this reason, we recommend a couple of things. First, we recommend that your assignment instructions be as clear as possible. If you have some assignments that are particularly difficult for students to navigate, that's an opportunity to ask maybe a peer or one of the instructional designers on our team to help you go through that assignment and see where the fallout could be. What kind of scaffolding do we need to put in place so that the assignment directions are clear? But in addition to assignment clarity, we also need to present our students with some flexibility. And we also need to be aware of some of the I don't want to use the word limitations of online learning, but some of the things that we need to be cognizant of as we are making decisions on how we're going to assess our students. And so for this reason, we typically recommend that you have a variety of assignment types. I see a lot of courses where it's either discussion heavy, maybe all of the activity, all of the assessment is happening in the discussion board. I also see the flip side where all of the assessments are more of those objective recall assessments where the students are answering multiple choice quizzes for large percentages of their grade. While both of those assignment types are completely acceptable in the online space, we want to make sure that we are reaching all of our learners equally. And one of the best ways to do that is to diversify the types of assignments that we are requiring. Maybe you can be flexible on how a student turns something in. Maybe if you are assigning a larger project, maybe you can give them the flexibility of either creating a virtual presentation, sort of like the video that I'm creating now, or writing a paper if the course is not writing intensive or something like that. So being able to be flexible about the modality that you would be willing to receive from students can create some reassurance that the student is able to communicate that mastery in the way that best suits their presentation style. Maybe the student is fairly articulate, can give a great presentation, and can provide enough evidence to assure you that they've reached that content mastery, whereas some of my other students may be strong writers. So I want to be able to appeal to each of those student types throughout my course, and I do that through giving a variety of assignments. I also want to be sure that we recognize some of the issues with assignment integrity. So every semester I have the same conversation multiple times with my faculty developers about cheating. And while this module doesn't talk necessarily about cheating, I do want to make sure that we are on the same page in that cheating is a mindset. And it's very difficult to prohibit a mindset as a student is approaching a particular assessment. Now we have the lockdown browser, which is our capability to disallow students to open up external programs on their computer while they're taking an assessment. Well, that's all well and good in a proctored environment where the student is coming in, they have a computer lab and all of that. When they're at home, though, those same types of restrictions are ineffective. They're ineffective for a couple of reasons. We live in a society now, not to sound too generic, but we live in a society now where everyone has multiple devices. Locking down one device is just not sufficient. And you can't lock down all the devices. We also have to take into account privacy concerns. Maybe students feel uncomfortable being on camera. Maybe students feel uncomfortable with them sharing their space. Even in this video, I've decided to blur out my background just to reserve a little bit of privacy. And so we want to be really cognizant of some of the restrictions and what those restrictions are requiring our students to do. Now, if you feel strongly that you want to place those types of restrictions on your course assignments, whether it be the lockdown browser or Respondus Monitor or something like that, then I'm more than happy to help you facilitate those things. And it's definitely your discretion as the instructor and developer. But I do want you to be aware that, for every technologically dependent mechanism that tries to dissuade cheating, that tries to dissuade dishonesty and all of those things, there's a piece of technology that's coming right around the corner to help circumvent that. And so I don't want us to get into this foot race where we are trying to outrun the people who are being academically dishonest. Instead, I want you to step back and reflect on how we can situate the assignment so that the student has more of an opportunity to showcase their mastery. Maybe assessing them through a multiple choice test isn't the best way to evaluate that. Maybe we need something that's more project-based. Maybe we need something that's more group project-based, especially if it's in a discipline that typically facilitates a lot of group work in the real world. So we want to make sure that our assignments are varied in nature, but that also are very aware of some of the limitations, but also some of the advantages that the online space provides.